an outdoor live. Thought I'd do one today. Thought I'd do one today. Again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Just got from the gym. But thought I'd do a video like this today. Watching so many things, so many interviews and stuff like that about certain, producers and songwriters, and just thinking to myself about my own music journey. Think about my own music journey. A lot of people feel like I don't have this equipment. I don't have access to a huge studio. We make all types of excuses, about our music and stuff like that. And I've, in the past, I've made excuses about certain things as far as, music is concerned. But, I've learned over time, you can't limit yourself as far as what you do with music. You have to do your best, make your best effort to create the best music you can create. Sometimes we feel like we already arrived. We may have a little success. We may have had a song on the radio, and we think we already arrived. As far as music, music success. A lot of people, the people that are extraordinary, had extraordinary careers. They didn't settle. How you doing, Anthony? My time. Yeah, I haven't did a video like this in a while on this channel, live on this channel. And I hate this new vertical thing. I don't know what's going on, how I can fix this vertical live situation. It's like everything is so wide, when you play it back and stuff. But anyways, a lot of people, they limit themselves as far as music. They don't tap into resources and stuff like that to make their music the best, quality possible. I think a lot of us, we settle and we think we got to rush, to create music because we want to make quick money. Somebody might like our music and, you get paid for it and you want to make quick money as far as music is concerned. But, you don't want to limit yourself in that way. You want to make the best music possible. When Michael Jackson created Thriller, he didn't just settle for average musicians. He didn't just settle for average producers. He wanted the best producer possible. Quincy Jones. He wanted the best songwriter, Rod Temperton, Steve Picario. All the greats, was writing on that album, the Thriller album. He didn't have to have 500 songs on the album. He didn't have to have a double disc album to make the album. And I'm kind of against double disc, two-part albums. I'm against it. I don't like albums with too many songs on it. And I feel that's why, people like Bruno Mars is very successful because, he only have like 9 or 10 songs on the album. And, all 10 songs could be singles, it's a lot of junk music. I'll be honest. How you doing, Tim Lowe? I don't want to mispronounce your name. But I feel like there's a lot of junk out there as far as music. People don't take the time to make classic albums these days. People just want to push songs out there. They just want to push songs out there, and it's not, the best, their best effort. People just want to push out songs. I just heard Lil Wayne album. I did a review on my channel. Y'all check that out. it's a lot of songs, it's just like he just putting stuff out there. He's not taking his time to create a classic. You know, it's not like the Carter 3. It's not like Carter 2. It's just not, the where I feel like Lil Wayne could have pushed his album. So yeah, take your time with your music. Don't feel like you gotta rush, your your efforts as far as music is concerned. Don't feel like you gotta rush things. Take your time. Take your time with your music. How you doing, Anaya? But take your time with music. Don't rush. Don't rush the music that you want to do. Don't rush the music you want to do. You don't want to rush music. But again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Please subscribe to the channel as well. Please subscribe. But yeah, you don't want to rush your creativity, the things that you love to do as far as music. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to rush your music. You want to take your time as far as your music creativity and stuff like that. You don't want to rush it. But appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for being in here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great day. And I hope you stay inspired. Always be inspired when you create music. I always try to stay inspired to create the best music you can. A lot of people don't stay inspired. They don't. Sometimes you gotta put the pen down, you gotta put your phone down and just experience life in order for you to get the best concepts. Music reflects life. It definitely reflects the situations these days. People are less creative, I feel. They're less motivated. They feel like they gotta smoke in order to be creative. And I feel like you don't have to be that way. I think we gotta change that narrative. Music artists, a lot of music artists, especially the younger ones, they feel like they gotta smoke weed and stuff like that to be inspired to create. I think that's been in the industry for too long now. People feel like they gotta smoke and stuff like that in order to stay creative as far as music is concerned. And I feel like it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. But if you want to send a super chat, feel free to. You want to join this conversation as far as music. But yeah, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself as far as being creatives. Get the best musicians. Somebody may, want to work with you. It ain't all about the money. You may find another musician, that, they play a certain instrument that you don't know how to play, and they can play in your song. It ain't all about the money at the beginning. Y'all can just work together and create magic. Put the money aside for right now and just create, because later on, you'll see the fruits of your labor. You may have a close friend. You may play piano. They play guitar. Just get together. It don't have to be about money. Until the splits come and y'all both get get paid for what y'all love to do. Don't make it a money issue at the beginning. I've learned that. And I think if I could go back, I would do that. It ain't all about money. It ain't all about money at the beginning. If y'all both trying to make it, look at Missy and Timbaland. They probably didn't start off paying each other for being on each other's songs you know, until later on, you know. When they had money, they was able to pay each other, you know, for their work and their efforts, you know, and they became multi-millionaires, you know, later on because of their tenacity and the things they love to do, you know. So, you know, stay inspired, stay motivated, you know. Like I said, it ain't all about, you know, how much money you make as far as, you know, what you do, what you love to do at the beginning. You know, later on, of course, you want to make it your career. Of course, later on, you want to make it your career to do what you love to do. As far as music is concerned, you know, of course, you want to do that later on. But right now, you know, just grind it out and, you know, do what you love to do. You know, do what you love to do, you know. But again, appreciate y'all for watching. I hope you had a great day. Just want to do this video that I, you know, speak what's on my mind right now. And instead of waiting until I get to my studio to talk about it, I say I'll talk about it this morning. But again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. All right, peace.